Good morning. Appreciate you being here. Had an opportunity to watch the film from the Kentucky game, and I stand by the comments after post game. We have to focus on fixing the things that Ohio can fix that Kentucky had zero to do with. Turnovers. I mean, we've got 6 in the last 2 games. That's unacceptable. You know, tackling better. Again, I stand by what I said. The guy that had the ball in his hand, very athletic, but we can do better. The biggest concern right now coming off that game is the injury list that we have. Obviously, we had recovery day yesterday. I got a better feel for that. I'm certain I'll get some questions, but I'll address it. That I made the comment: 6 captains, 3 on defense, 3 on offense. We only had 2 available in the game Saturday. We had nobody available on defense of the 3 for defense. So I've never gone through that, and I pointed to some new captains that were going to play in the game. We traveled 74 players for that contest. We played 64 players. In my time here at 20 years, we've never played that many guys. So it's what it is. And I will say this, this time of year with our conference and the teams that our conference plays, you look at Akron's schedule. Their schedule's more difficult than ours. That's a fact. You just look around the league, and that's kind of, I would think every head coach is, it's in their thought process going into coming out of non-conference and beginning conference league play, which we are. So the injuries are a concern, but we're going to continue to have the next man up mentality and get going. All right. So we're going to correct the mistakes from the Kentucky game and move on after today. We're past the 24 hours. Going into Akron, again, you look at, okay, well, it's Akron and their schedule. Their stats and their record. I say it every year when we start league play. You throw all that stuff out because of who we're playing non-conference. And they do a really good job. Coach Moorhead's done a great job there in his time. They have gone through some things with the portal, just like we have, looking at their roster. Offensively, there's a lot. They've got a lot of transfers on the 2D, as do we. And defensively, they returned some. They basically returned their front 7. They replaced their secondary. And so there's a lot of similarities with non-conference and a lot of similarities with the portal stuff. And it should be a heck of a game. It was a heck of a game last year against them, the season finale. And I'm anticipate the same thing. I do know, I'll end it with the best part is we're glad to be at home. And to be honest with you, so we have some guys available to us to play if we need it. And but most importantly, it's homecoming, the best game day experience in our league with the best fans. Weather looks great, and it's a special week all week, and I'm not too concerned with the distractions that come along with homecoming. We've got enough older guys on our team that can get us through that. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Bobby Keegan with the Post. You talk about how going into MAC play, it's kind of the start of a new season. How do you get your guys to kind of put the non-conference schedule behind them, especially with kind of a rough loss last weekend?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And that question, it keeps me up at night. I'm looking forward to talking to Coach Moorhead, to be honest with you, and just visit with him before the game and ask him some things, because I don't have all the answers. We had a rather lengthy staff meeting yesterday just on that. Can we do something different? I've been here 20 years. This is what we've always done. Every team's different, and we've got a lot of new faces. So I went around the room. I called Coach Shue when he went home. Private conversation. He had an opportunity to speak. I want to know Kurt Maddox and his background. Brian Smith, guys that haven't been here. Because as a coach, you don't want to say this is what we've always done. You want to gain information from other things and try to do what's best for your team. And I'll wrap it all together by saying that we had that open dialogue, but I truly believe that the Nick Saban thing about the process and how you prepare on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and not the outcome. You can't be focused just on the outcome. You've got to enjoy what you go through. All right. And so I talked to the staff. Do we need to tweak anything of the process? All right. And the outcome, the scoreboard doesn't dictate what kind of person anybody is. Football's not it's not who they are, it's what they do. And that approach is never going to change. That to answer your question specifically, that's what helps us get over that game. A big win against Iowa State last year or a tough loss versus Kentucky. That approach gets us to the next day, to the next journey, the next step in the journey, the next rung on the ladder. And so we're going to stick to that. But I know our guys are hurting from the game, but we're going to correct the things that we got to fix and forge ahead.
Andrew Bobby at WEB. Is there any update on Parker and what his status will be for this week?
I think I was asked that after the game, and again, it's an upper body soft tissue. I'm not sure if I said upper body, but that's what it is. And we anticipate him being full go. But I will say he's been hampered. It was something that occurred in early in the season, and it's still lingering. But it's not serious where he's got to have surgery, nothing like that. So I anticipate Parker to be out there today and going full speed.
And then just to follow up on that, also with Bradley Weaver, what's his status?
Yeah, I think I anticipate his is not soft tissue, and it happened in practice last week. I mean, our medical team felt like him playing at Kentucky was not in his best interest, based on when the situation that he was put under happened. It happened towards the end of the week. So if that gives some clarification.
Grant Kiefer, WAEB, you've mentioned it 100 times. It's a really tough loss. How do you find and tell your team some of the silver linings in a loss like that, where you guys thought, you could have competed and didn't really go that way?
I think we always tell them the truth and be transparent. And that's the reason they play so hard. All right. And when, 13 and the D line or 0, just, hey, physically get after us and make a play. Our guys are smart enough to know, hey, the guy's a really good player. He's going to be drafted. Versus, hey, I was late off the ball, or my technique was wrong, or I didn't get the ID right. Hey, look, if to give us our best chance here, those types of things I just mentioned. And our team is smart enough to know that, hey, Kentucky's had zero to do with, the fumble in the red zone. Both of them. We had 2 of them in the same series, right? We were fortunate enough to get one of them back. Kentucky had zero to do with that. It wasn't somebody scot-free and caused a collision, And so our guys are able to take the positives, and they know, hey, we got to take care of the ball better. We've had 6 turnovers in 2 weeks. They know. All right, TFO, and they know, they can take the things that we can fix, and take the positives from the game and apply them moving forward.
You've mentioned this a couple of times, naming new captains against Kentucky. Are there new captains kind of going forward for the rest of the season?
That's a really good question, and to be honest with you, I haven't. The thing you want captains that are suited up on the field. If there's a question with an official, that's where it starts. And I want to say this. We've voted as a team for our captains, and there's always a split. All right, and these are Coach Soldich's words, because I was with Coach for 21 years, and he's always hey, there's some years there's 4 guys, and some years there's 3, some years there are 5, and the split was at 6. And the part I want you to know is, as when we voted, I think we had 17 guys apply, because you got to apply, you got to fill out paperwork, type it up, and I got a list of questions, and you got to answer questions of why you want to represent the team. And it's not just like I raise your hand. It's and they gotta, and then I pass those. It's a 2-week deal. They got to fill it out. They got a week to fill it out. I pass out the forms, and so we discuss as a staff. On their application, we had 17 guys apply for that, and there was a split. But the question on your point, there's another 6 that were right there, and that it could have been easily 12 based on 116 guys' votes plus the staff. And there's the point I want to illustrate here is we got a lot of guys in this football team that a lot of people think very highly of, that are capable, that are captain worthy, and so this week I got to see who's suited up, who's going to be out there and make that decision. Because it didn't dawn on me until on the bus ride down there. Adonis, I thought, played, and I know he's going to suit up, and that wasn't the case. And I thought he played. Actually, I think I said at post game that Adonis played us maybe a series. He didn't, and so the injuries really are dictating that. I'm not going to make a ruling on it until I see, because we've got our 6 guys set, and I just know that we have guys that are capable, and it'll be a late in the week if we have to adjust it.
We asked you after the game about what was kind of the rushing game and how it struggled. What's the biggest key, this week, getting the rushing game back up to where it was the first 3 weeks?
Well, I'll tell you, Akron does a really good job defensively, and they do a really, really good job on disguising. They return their front 7 guys who gave us a really hard time last year. They play extremely hard. Without getting into technical on, our scheme matches up versus that's not the case. I mean, Kentucky, we struggled, with any kind of consistent running game, and it's because of just their sheer ability. And I don't want that to sound like Akron does not have any. It's just not Kentucky. And injuries are going to be a huge role in who we got banged up and who's playing. But I just know that as an offense, Ohio, we're at our best when we have a running game, and we don't have to be one-dimensional. I will end it with that.
We've gotten to see a good amount from Nick Polis, and through a game or so, Jacob Winters got in at the end there. Is there any thought, maybe with some of the coming games come up, Jacob get a shot, or, Cal maybe getting in there for a few reps?
Yeah. On the health piece of this is going to play into it. I don't anticipate any issues. But you've heard me say, hey, we wanted to get Nick some reps in the Syracuse game, and it just never really presented itself. And then in the South Alabama game, it didn't, and then it happened in the third game. And I would say that with really any position, there's you'd like for Stellan Bowman to get some. Well, he was forced into action earlier than what we wanted, due to the injuries, and he's running around hitting people. So back to the injuries that can dictate. And as I used Stellan as a reference, but as a staff, if you can play some guys in the right times, and the first time that they come in the game, it's not a clock situation before halftime, or in the first quarter against Syracuse like Stellan. So there's so many things that go into it, but in a perfect world, yes, we would, but there's a lot that plays into it.
I got one here for you, Coach. 2-2 in non-conference play. Homecoming this week, bye week next week. You guys have set yourself up to really control your own destiny going into conference play. How do you feel about taking that jump and turning to conference play?
Yeah, great point. Everybody in league play right now. I mean, I think we've had one conference game, two. I guess Ball State and Central play, right? And so we haven't had one yet. So yeah, we control our own destiny. Yes, but it's a one game at a time. We don't have a tournament at the end. Every game counts, and so that's why I always say we want our football team peaking when we start league play. So we're here, and everybody's got injuries, so we gotta get this thing put together. And I'm glad we're at home. I think that gives us, we're not traveling, and so is it an advantage? I don't know. I just know that we control our own destiny, and we got to get the turnover thing fixed. We got to get a couple more. I hope that the guys that we have played up to this point, they're no longer freshmen, and we need for them to continue to play well. Hopefully, we can get some guys back to give us our best foot to keep our own destiny in our hands, with the win.
To follow that up, do you think you guys are where you want to be at right now overall?
I mean, you want to win them all, and it's you want to win them all. I mean, call Chuck Martin and see if he's where they're at. They return everybody, and it's tough, and their schedule's tough. I mean, all non-conference in our league is going to be difficult, and so I'm sure Coach Martin he knows he's got a good football team. And we don't play them for a while. I don't know when, but it's coming. We're gonna, and so every coach wants to be undefeated, and it's tough to do. So I think you got to have the process piece, and they got to know it's not about the outcome, and you want them playing at their best when it's league time.
We obviously know Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame a couple weeks ago, and then they lost to Buffalo last week. What does that kind of say about the depth of the MAC, and then just kind of like the level of competition within the conference?
I think it's we got a great league, and it's tough to win on the road. Tip my hat, obviously, to Buffalo. Pete Limbo's he's a former MAC coach. He's played in that stadium at NIU many times when he's at Ball State. For them to go on the road, that's hard to do. And but the depth of our league, it'll be interesting. We don't have the East Division and the West Division anymore. I think that's going to make some exciting finishes. My gut tells me that the tiebreaker system that was released last week is going to have a say in how it goes. I don't see a team that's going to go undefeated, but we haven't started yet, so maybe someone will.
If you kind of look at just the homecoming aspect of the game this weekend, I'm assuming you guys are going to have some former football alumni kind of at the game. How do you plan to use those guys to kind of provide energy into the team?
Well, right now I'd like to suit a couple of those guys up, particularly on defense. But I think homecoming is such a special event here, and to your point, there are thousands of alumni come back, that played, and they come back for a couple of days, and be a part of our team, right? And our guys see that. Some guys they played with, Hagen Missouri, or that was at the Kentucky game that a lot of our guys know, and I truly believe that our team they'll get up on their shoulders and play, dig in and play their best game for that tradition of all the people that come back, and the kegs and eggs, and the parents and the aunts that come to the game. I think it just makes it that much more special.